Okay, hey there, everyone. You might have heard that recording in process note. Uh, my name is Joe Betz. I'm your English professor for English 214 in our first 8-week term. And right now I'm sitting at my kitchen table. I'm just hanging out. I just took my daughter to school and I'm back home and working on getting our course ready for Monday. So this is a welcome video, just to welcome you to the class and to give you a really brief overview of what you can expect in the class, what you can expect from me as your professor, give you a little bit of information about who I am, and and to help you set you on the right foot. So this short video will take 5, maybe 7 minutes, and that'll be it. Though I will be posting another video related to just module 1 in particular a little bit later, likely on Monday morning is when you'll see that pop into your inboxes. Okay, so what is this class? So this is English 214. It's Introduction to Poetry. And what that means for you is that you will be introduced to a lot of different poets and many different poems and a lot of conversations around poetry. So your week-to-week work will be a mix of reading poetry, reading about poetry, and then writing about poetry and your thoughts about what you're finding within the various poems that we will read throughout the semester. So it's a mix of, we're a literature class. It's a 200 level course at the end of the day. So you can expect, that I will expect you to really give all your attention to the reading, to be thoughtful in your replies to your peers, to really just try to work hard and do your best in our class, because poetry is really cool. If you have only read poetry from, the 1800s, or you've only read Robert Frost poems or something like that from the early 20th century, then, I'm looking forward for your discovery of some contemporary poetry that's being written today, because poetry is still very much being written today. There are debates over is poetry dead. You'll actually respond to some of those debates in the discussion post this semester. But in my view, poetry is still very much alive because people write it and people read it and people discuss it. And we even have classes about it like this. So that's my quick take. But for me, poetry is really special and important because poetry really helped to shift my professional life to the point where I'm sitting here making this video to you today, this morning. When I went to college, I was a first generation college student. No one in my family had gone to college. And I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I knew that teachers seemed to have pretty stable jobs and they had to work really hard and they didn't maybe make a ton of money, but they seemed to have consistent work. And for me, as a kid growing up in a pretty poor household, a farming family, my first job was picking weeds out of wheat fields for $3 an hour. I was like, teaching seems pretty good. And so I went to college to be an elementary school teacher. But as I got into the elementary classroom, I just didn't love it. And I didn't want to turn into one of those mean, elementary school teachers. So I didn't know what I was going to do. But I discovered poetry by accident, really. I wanted to take a fiction class because I was starting to read a lot of books. I was not a reader at all. I started to read a lot of books on break times for during a summer job that I had working to rehabilitate campus apartments at the University of Southern Indiana. That was just a summer job that I had, so like fixing toilets, changing garbage disposals, things like that. And I would read books on the side. I just kind of started doing that because I thought I needed to read to make myself smarter, as like smart people read, right? So as I did that, I got interested in literature, and then I wanted to take a fiction class. Those were full, so I took a poetry class, an American poetry course, and we read a lot of American poetry, so poetry written by American citizens, effectively from the in the 1900s to the early 2000s. So a lot of more contemporary writing. I'd only read Shakespeare before that, and begrudgingly I didn't like it. So it opened up this whole world to me that poetry could be so much more than I thought it was. And I just went to my professor and said, "Hey, how do I get your job?" He said, "Well, you need to get a master's degree and then you need to get really lucky." And that's kind of been my path. So I went to the University of Missouri, St. Louis, and earned a master's in fine arts and creative writing there. I write poetry, so I'm a poet, and I published poetry. And but my heart was in teaching always. So I looked for teaching opportunities, started teaching at community colleges in St. Louis and also at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and then moved to Indiana, back to Indiana, because I grew up in Evansville, far west side of Evansville, went to school in Mount Vernon, for those of you who might be familiar with that space, uh, and and started to teach and really, and loved it. And I don't often get to teach poetry courses, but when I do, I really, really look forward to it. I'm making this intro video a little bit longer, and I apologize for that. I'll try not to take too much of your time, but I just get really excited about poetry, and I'm really hopeful that in this class, week to week, you're going to find new poets that you've never heard of before, that you're going to be challenged to think and consider about poetry in ways you might haven't before, and that you'll just grow to really appreciate and enjoy some contemporary poetry, as well as older poetry. So, we'll be reading some older stuff too, but we'll definitely be reading a lot of newer stuff as well. So that's it for this quick welcome video. I hope you're staying warm out there. I have a 9-year-old daughter. We sledded yesterday and I'm sore today. So it's just getting older just means your body's sore after you do, physical activities for a little bit longer. So I'm learning that this morning, but take good care out there. I really look forward to getting to know you this semester. Reach out to me with any questions or concerns. You'll find my contact information in the syllabus. Email is best. And you can expect a reply from me often pretty quickly, generally within a day, outside of the weekends. But yeah, that's it. Okay. Take good care, everybody, and watch for a Module 1 overview video from me, likely coming to you on Monday morning sometime, or sometime on Monday, okay, where I'll just walk through Module 1 and give you some tips, tricks, and some advice. Okay, thanks, everybody.